And today we got something extremely special for you. We are honored and we are delighted to have with us Dr. Chuck Morris, which is the founder of Fulcrum Performance Lab and also the CEO of the NFL Alumni Health Lab. And thank you everyone for joining us today. And we truly are thankful to have with us Dr. Chuck Norris. And in today's agenda, in just a few seconds, Chuck, are you with us?
I am. I'm
Ah,
happy to be here.
excellent, excellent. So if you wish to start a video, you can start a video. I can start a video as well. That's completely up to you, sir.
Yes, if you would.
So let's go nuts. Excellent. So what are we gonna talk today? Today, this is more of an open conversation with our delighted guest, Dr. Chuck Morris, and we're gonna talk about personalized healthcare and how actually it helps us and how actually it makes a change to each and every one of us. And this is just the beginning of the future. We're gonna talk about the differences of how it actually influences and what's the future store for us. We're going to talk about the technology that Bina created, as well as the technology that Fulcrum Lab have created for us, and also the next generation of a data-driven, personalized healthcare for human performance enhancement. We're going to have a Q&A, so if you will have any questions during this session, please feel free to just write it down to us at any time, and we'll be more than happy to answer all your questions in the last part of the session. So I'll just introduce myself very shortly. My name is David Maman. I'm the founder, CEO, and also CTO of Bina AI. I've been doing technology my entire life, I guess, since I was extremely young. I started my first startup at the age of 19 almost, and this is the 13th startup that I founded. But I'm not the interesting part of this session. So Dr. Morris, please introduce yourself to everyone.
By the way, I think David is a very interesting part. My name is Dr. Chuck Morris. I have been working in human performance full time for the last 25 years. As you can see, some of our information is here in front of you, but some of the most important things is we specialize in human performance and data-driven human performance. We've done a number of clients that fall the spectrum of Olympic gold medalists, Super Bowl champions, cancer patients, and stay-at-home dads. So I'm excited to be here, and I'm excited for what's coming next for the health and wellness community as a whole.
So don't let Dr. Morris' humbleness get to you. He's much more than what he just described, and he have an amazing history going through each and every different part of understanding what is performance at a real athletes. You know, those are Olympic level athletes. We're not talking about some, my hobby is to jog when I have the time. No, well, I don't jog, but you understand the point. But so it's a pleasure of having you here, sir, and we're really enjoying that. So I think we'll just hop into it. And I think that the big question is about what is personalized healthcare and why do we need that? And please give us your part. And of course, I'll know you every now and then to add my insights.
Well, personalized healthcare is really it's the new generation, but it's an old concept. The concept being that each human being is exactly that, an individual human being. So personalized healthcare really is required because we have to move into a space where I can identify the uniqueness of myself, combine that with the shared experience of the human experience, and then be able to manage that myself, and then be able to give the people that are responsible for being inside of my space of helping my care have the best information possible so that I can do the best that I can do, and that these practitioners, the wellness people, the coaches, the doctors, the physicians, the surgeons, they all have the best information so that I can get better as an individual, as opposed to applying to me standards and charts and outdated information that are generalized. We're just in a space where we have to be better, and it has to be personalized.
From your point of view and from your experience, when you say personalize, it means that it depends on specific types of vital signs, and it means that it actually depends on better understanding who we are not just from, of course, a medical point of view that many of us just go through a blood test, but actually the different behavior influence activities in our body. Which do you see is as the more important parts?
Interesting. For me, and part of our mission is to take the same thing we do with the top 1% that have to get 1% better. I think that's just as relevant for the person that needs to lose 50 pounds or get rid of stress. So for me, I think some of the most important information really is biasly so the understanding to be able to identify that I'm stressed, quantify my stress. I need to be able to identify and understand changes in the basic fundamentals of me as a human being, which really goes to respiratory, it goes to my heart and lung capacity, it goes to my mental stress, it goes to my behavioral health. Like, what am I thinking? And then what am I putting into my body? That's really the things that we need to be able to identify and know that it's unique to us and track and trend over time.
Do you see those kind of behaviors, like stress and the way that you live, the life quality that you live, the type of, practicing that you actually spend time on, how much influence does it got on shaping the type of personalized healthcare that we need to provide for people?
Amazingly so. Unfortunately, in many spaces, that information is not taken into an account with the same level of reverence as some other things. But in terms of my lifestyle, that's going to dictate something as simple as how compliant I'll be with a medication. My stress levels will dictate the inflammation that's in my body and how I'll respond to a certain treatment of care. My my nutrition can speak to the fact that my gut health is so bad that you have to increase the amount of medication for my body to break down the appropriate amount for me to get what's being diagnosed to me. So I think it's paramount. I don't know how else to express the
No,
importance of it.
no. I'm sure that everyone that hears you now completely understand what you're talking about. I'm trying to actually dig a little bit deeper. From
Mm,
this extremely vast experience of knowing exactly what you're working on and understanding exactly the scope of being able to, I guess, not just personalize healthcare, but actually to profile correctly the type of treatment and the type of behavior that needs to be adopted and changed. And from this kind of an understanding, when you've been able to work with some of the best athletes and everything, and I have no doubt that this is exactly the behavior that each and every one of us has to adopt on our life basis. But once you're able to profile correctly, and I know that profiling can mean a very bad word in the US sometimes, but I mean that from a healthcare point of view, of course. When you've been able to profile, do you think that eventually there is some sort of a categories or groups that you can actually place a person and it's not completely personalized, or eventually everything have to be personalized?
wow, great. I think that with this, to your exact point, with this concept, we can do more effective grouping. So, as an example, I can profile one of our athletes to an extent where a certain group of athletes will have a higher possibility of getting a hamstring tear
Yes.
based on the rest of the information that we're getting from them. And then inside of that group, I can dig a little bit deeper and be able to identify which one is going to get a cramp because of their dehydration levels. That's going to increase the probability of them getting a hamstring tear inside of that same space.
Interesting. So it actually gets to this kind of resolution to understand exactly the effect of specific behavior from even consuming, water and everything about their body. That's amazing.
Exactly.
That's wonderful. So in personal healthcare, I think we understand completely that there is no off-the-shelf solution that is ideal for everyone. And that's what many people and many types of solution do not understand. They give you recommendations based on the very, very basic, basic list. Your age, your height, your weight, your probably your historical training or something very basic like that. But everything have to be adopted based on those kind of reads that today we're able to extract as time passes.
I agree totally.
Yes. Excellent. So let's move forward. I think that the need today, everything that have to do about the need, we have to understand that this is a combination. It's not just about the patients, it's actually about the physicians that needs to combine those kind of capability. Because if a physician is truly used to giving his off-the-shelf solution to everyone, maybe according to the age group, maybe according to the sex group, and so on, everything have to be adopted. So I guess it's a level of understanding for both sides, for the caregivers and for the care needers eventually.
For sure. And just a human pattern. So just the reality of how humans function. If I get into a pattern of every time I see a certain thing, that it's 9 times out of 10, a particular result, then without me being biased, I'm going to automatically pull up that point of reference every time I see that outline. So no physician will ever get into medicine for anything less than wanting to help people. So it's not an indictment against them as an individual that they may do some categorizing that they really shouldn't, but it's now programmed. So they need the same help to help them accomplish their own personal mission.
Definitely. So I think that's really interesting because we talked about a physician point of view, and if we go back, 50 years back, even 40 years back, everything was about the house calls. Even if the physician didn't came to your home, but you had the same physician that knew you since you were 2 years old, and he knew exactly what made you feel better. He knew exactly what kind of things makes you feel bad. And those were the people that we actually grew up with. But
Mhm.
we today, I think, changes. Everything have started to be, I guess, off the shelf. We almost don't
Right.
have access to the same doctor that we had when we were growing up. Many of them are not serving anymore as physicians. But more than that, there is almost no personal connection between the physicians and the patients. And we see the rise today with the world of I guess we can call it telemedicine and telehealth services, that you have 7 minutes to talk with the doctors. That's it. He doesn't know your
Right.
name. He doesn't know anything. Maybe he have some sort of a profile about you to read about what was the last recommendation by the previous physician that talked with him. And of course, it can be a physician in Alaska, in India, in Germany that just talks with you for 7 minutes. Everyone is on call today, so there is no real personalized. And with today's technology, everything is starting to change. The type of connection that can be created between a physician and a patient is sort of going back in time to be able to create this kind of an amazing connection between a physician and a patient, the one that we had that when we were growing up.
Right.
And how do you see that happening today, sir?
I'm so excited about it. I see it happening. To your point, physicians, if for no other reason than the sheer volume of humanity, just the population has grown, and there's no way we can have enough physicians to be able to really truly handle as much personal care in an analog old model, right? It just can't be done. And as we're moving forward in this new age, healthcare is finally catching up with the rest of the world. Healthcare is really finally saying, hey, how do we utilize all this technology, all of these resources to service people better in this way? And I see this happening exactly the way you've expressed it, giving physicians the most up-to-date information on the individual is paramount to their ability to not spend time trying to figure some things out so they can move some things out of the way. They know on an option. And then when they're pulling up my information on myself, they're seeing a trend of me. They can quickly see alerts of me being outside of a feeling or a particular number that I had before I saw them again. So they can look at data and see that I had heart palpitations 3 days ago that I forgot to mention when we did our interview. So I mean, this is the way now.
Definitely. It's amazing to see that, like with COVID-19 hitting the entire population now, and it's not just China or not just Italy or not just anywhere. And as people probably hear through the news, so in Israel, it's getting tougher. And finally, the past few days getting better. So I had a call with the doctor. I was supposed to have a meeting, and the doctor just, they asked to do it online, which makes sense. They don't want to expose me to a specific facility that might have COVID-19 patients. And when I was talking with the doctor, she was really nice. I have to say, she's probably talking every 7 minutes with someone else. It was amazing, just the 7 minutes. And she asked me about a specific treatment that I was supposed to get, just specific pills, like everyone else. And then I told her, well, I'm not sure I better take those pills because those pills made me feel bad about 2 years ago. And she said, oh, I don't see it in your profile. And I think that was just exactly that.
Right.
we are becoming a spreadsheet for doctors and for any type of services. And if the spreadsheet for any reason misses something that we know, or maybe even our body knows, and we're not being able to actually share it, we have to drill in. And today's technology actually makes it possible. From your experience,
Completely.
give us just one or two examples that you came across with that.
Yeah, because something that brings me to the fact that we work with one of the things I started working on some years ago was alert based information. So in your scenario, if there was an alert based on your response to that medication, that would have traveled with you. So when that medication was prescribed again, that alert would have came up. So a great example for us, my wife's, we're here in the States. My wife in the very beginning of the COVID was really thought she was sick, and the stress level of the household went up. At that time, everything was locked down. We couldn't move, and COVID was running through Philadelphia, New Jersey, and New York rapidly. And my wife was not feeling well. But because we have access to digital health in our tools, we were able to track and trend her oxygen saturation, her respiratory rate, her mental stress. And when we charted it and we looked at 3 or 4 days in a row, and then the past 2 weeks, what we were able to see is that the respiratory, her oxygen saturation, her heart rate, all of those numbers were in her norm. That's usually for her, and they didn't spike. So before we rushed out to try to figure out even how to get to a doctor, we were able to identify that information. So it brought the stress level of the entire family all the way down, all the way down.
Amazing.
And then we talked to the doctors, and they were like, "Yes, well, with the rest of the information you just gave me, just wait about 2 more weeks, see if you have any issues."
Definitely. So we're here to make the world a better place. Let's put it that way.
That's it.
Moving forward, I think that that's becoming more and more interesting, but we now finally see that how personalized health is becoming extremely efficient with the
Mm.
ability to extract the different vital signs that we just discussed, but actually to actually being able to suit up a specific recommendation sets. And how you see that the trends that are happening now, and how do you see actually it's happening in the future?
Yeah, I think the trends are awesome, and that they're what's happening. I take on both ends of the curve. So, in our more senior population, the ability to extract so much life data, the ability to extract so much specific information, and having an algorithm that can help move faster than our brains can, and pull in massive amounts of information, are actually I'm seeing that in small groups, and I believe in larger groups soon, being able to help identify with cognitive changes where some of our senior population are having some brain challenges. But there was a time where by the time we realized that they were losing memory, there was so much damage that had already happened in their brain that if we had the technology that we have now, bringing in all that information, we can identify small changes earlier, which will then inform the treatment that will potentially get on the front of something before it becomes almost irreversible. And then I see the same thing happen with our younger generation. The ability to be able to um, track the trend of our young people and help them understand the all of the small information, these little things that they're doing, and we're adding that information into all of these different algorithms and programs that we'll be able to have the full continuum of care from the crib to the grave of having a better quality of life, not just extending our life, but using this information to get real time, almost unimaginable data that helps inform us, that's going to give us a better quality of life instead of just living longer. Penicillin helped us live longer, but now let's have a better
Exactly.
quality of life.
Oh yeah, completely. In an ideal world, from my point of view, let's talk about in 2 years. In actually, it might be even 5 years. But I don't want to report when I'm feeling bad. I want any type of personal health to just get a text message. You have to buy those pills because in next Tuesday you're gonna get a cold. That's
Right.
those. When people think about that, don't get me wrong. Any type of a serious disease and a serious treatment, it's horrible for the
Right.
person and for his family. That's a supporting system that goes down. That's hard to handle.
Mhm.
But most of the time we just hate getting a cold, getting those kind of, tiny bruises in life that annoys us much more than sometimes even a very serious treatment.
Mhm.
And I think that personalized health, by understanding those kind of vital signs and by understanding the information that our body generates, you're able to actually have any type of previous diagnostics, previous, and even the most interesting one is, of course, predictions. If
Yes.
you can predict that something is going to get worse, you talked about cognitive performance and other types of like that, which is, of course, horrible. But I want to handle the most annoying thing. I don't want to sneeze again. The tiny things. I don't
Yeah.
want to get to the point that I'm going to the doctor or going to CVS or Walgreens just to get those Advil cold in order to stop shaking at night. And I
Right.
think that the baseline of personal health will get us there eventually. We're not that far, to be honest. Because keep in mind that with today's technology that we're creating, and we'll talk about it just in a few minutes, the person have to provide you a read. But I think that very soon, every time we will use our phone, and it doesn't matter for what, for Instagram, for YouTube, for email, for chatting, it doesn't matter. As long as we're in front of a camera, we can start extracting vital signs. The average American guy uses a smartphone for more than 3 hours every day, which means 50 scans a day. This is becoming almost continuous. And I think those are the amazing trends that we'll be able to see very soon. And also everything in the list that you can see in front of you, artificial intelligence, amazing tool sets for predicting, from understanding, for clustering the different types of behavior and the different types of people, telemedicine services, making everything available everywhere. Of course, genetic testings that will help us to get a much wider range of data and information about each and every one of us. What are other things that you see today that are becoming, I think, the next types of trends?
Yes. So some of the things that are happening is we're really beginning to understand the relevance of sleep, and we're beginning to understand the relevance of breathing efficiently, effectively.
Nice.
We're beginning to understand the relevance of the small little things that an individual can do that has magnificent effects on their health and well-being. So the sleep, the breathing techniques, the fact that I can actually uh, take a wearable or some other piece of technology and thread all of that information together. And I see it being, and I'm really excited, but I see us making that move of, instead of just going to the doctor's office and getting a blood test, instead of just tell me what I'm low, yeah, sure, take the blood test, but tell me exactly what that means. So I'm getting these readings, and hey, Chuck, your vitamin C levels are going down. Hey,
Nice.
your glucose levels are going down. So real time, I can just make little teeny changes, and I believe that that's where it's going, because we see it, but we see it at the highest level with just 1% of the population, with a massive team of people.
Definitely. We're going to have a very interesting future in the next very close days.
I agree.
So I think that today it's a full set of capabilities that are starting to be at the palm of our hands, from the right risk assessment tools, the prevention, doesn't matter if we're talking about behavior changes and adaptation or types of treatments that need to do, detection, treatment, diagnostics, and to manage the entire process by the providers that we truly trust. And when it comes to the clear benefits, what other types of benefits you actually see that are going to be available?
I think one of the other benefits that I'm excited about is the ability to then share that information with my loved ones, so that the
Yeah,
community of my home, we can be together and increase our health and our wellness as a unit for
nice,
inside of the home. And the same thing with family members that are distant that you can't touch.
nice. Actually, I usually don't think about it. I'm too much into technology, but when you think about that, eventually everything is about the people that are close to you, from
Mhm.
your family members to your neighbors to your neighborhood, and goes without saying that most of us need support. You know that. And even if I just need to start walking in order to get my breathing better and my vitals better, it's much easier with someone that actually calls you, when are we going out?
Right.
And that's something we don't keep in mind, but we have to understand also the social And I'm not talking about the ritual, but the social impact about making everything better. Interesting. Great.
Yeah, I love it. It's a massive impact. It's really a wildfire. If we can connect, and we're going to do better. It's exciting connecting the digital social reality with a flesh and blood social reality to get that same kind of information or support into a group, and then make health and wellness be the most important thing in that group, and how we do that together as a unit. It's prevention and detection, and then management becomes a real life thing, because I'm managing it not just by myself.
Definitely. That's amazing. I'm for that completely. So, how Bina, just in a few words, this is not a sales presentation. Don't get us wrong. We just want to share exactly what Bina is doing. And then Dr. Morris will share exactly the type of added value that he's been able to create also by using our technology. So, in Bina's technologies, we are about to make vital signs extractions available anywhere. It's only about a camera device. It can be your Windows device, it can be your smartphone device. But let's be honest, everyone is walking with their smartphone. No one cares anymore about Windows, or even many people don't even use a Mac. They got their iPhone. Unless they need truly to work on some paper or anything, everyone is on their smartphone. And those kind of capabilities that we've been able to create, we're able to extract vital signs just by using the camera. And when I'm saying using the camera, it means that as long as your face is exposed to the camera or your finger is available to be placed on the back camera of the device, we're able to extract the different types of vital signs and make them available to additional analysis, like Fulcrum Performance Health Lab application that is doing. Because getting those vital signs, this is a great first step, but the decision making also, it's a huge and enormous step about how you actually utilize those kind of insight and make a real added value out of them. Today, using any type of camera embedded device, mostly smartphones, we're able to extract heart rate, oxygen saturation, respiration rate, mental stress level, heart rate variability, and also the ability to keep on providing those kind of insight so you can actually get to a trend detection and understand the historical view of all those types of findings. Everything can run within a minute in order to be able to make this information is available. A few words about how it works. So everything starts with a face detection because we have to make sure that there is a face present in front of the camera. And sometimes, there's people around us. So the technology truly focuses on the person that is the closest to the smartphone. Okay. Once we're able to detect a person, we're starting tracking him because we have to make sure that we can compensate on any type of tracking. And the squares that you see, the small squares that you see on the picture here, those are actually the key points that we are focusing on. And if for any reason they are covered because I'm wearing a mask and sunglasses, major sunglasses, like I'm going skiing, so the dynamic skin region selection will actually use also the forehead parts and also the type of skin between your eyes. So there's a very important dynamic skin region selection to make sure that each and every part that we're able to extract vital signs from will be utilized. And then because we all live in an open environment, we have to make sure that we're able to normalize those types of different motions and also to normalize all the different types of light and light conditions that are happening all across. And again, if you're wearing a hat and you have sunglasses and sometimes you wear a mask, we will still be able to find the pieces of skin that we're able to extract the different vital signs from. In today's technology, we're getting to the point that if God forbid you're getting to the point that you're a chronic condition patient, you have to start using a lot of different devices. And from our point of view, everything should be available just by using a camera embedded device. So we're allowing patients, we're allowing basically anyone that is exposed to a camera embedded device to have all these vital signs being extracted. And when people talk about stress, so stress is a huge thing, especially in a COVID-19 situation. And I think that you can add a lot about that also to athletes that their entire life have started shifting due to COVID-19. And you know what? Let's talk about that just for a minute. From your experience, Dr. Morris, you've been able to see how the different types of stress influences are actually influencing people, not just athletes, everyone. How do you see stress as part of our life that we have to maintain and manage?
Yes, stress. Thank you for that lead in, David. It's great. Stress um, is such a relevant component of life, and it regulates so much in how we function in our health. So really quickly, think about stress as an indicator, and that indicator dictates from your brain what your body should do. If I'm in danger, if I'm not in danger, increase my cortisol, increase my blood sugar, I need to fight off a lion. What so to your brain, when you're in a stressful situation, I must ramp my body up and to prepare for battle of some sort. And that's what stress is, and that's what it's supposed to do, and that's great. But the chronic stress means I never come back down to a normal.
Mhm.
And with most people, they think that stress is a sensory touch and feel thing. They say, oh, I'm not experiencing stress or chronic stress because I feel fine. I'm not experiencing stress because I'm not thinking about anything negative. I'm not experiencing stress because of these other indicators that have nothing to do with understanding what your stress levels are. And that's really important because your stress levels will dictate hormonally how you process a situation. It will dictate whether your body gets inflamed. It will dictate how efficiently your major organs run in your life, and it will dictate how you function in space. So if I understand why, and to increase the probability of you getting injured in any type of semi-violent activity, and definition of violent is not just one of our athletes on something crazy. It could be someone rushing down a flight of stairs to your body. That's a violent moment. So to be able to identify how powerful stress is, but how damaging it can be when it's chronic, we need a way to be able to identify and quantify that I'm stressed, to be able to see if I'm chronically stressed over a period of time, to be able to identify that it's happening, and then deploy the type of things I need to help myself process the stress. And
Interesting.
it cannot we cannot wait until or depend on, oh, I feel sensory feel stressed. It's
Yeah.
we can't.
So people sometimes don't understand, but there's so much mortality due to high stress level. People think stress is just, no, I'm just annoyed by work. No, stress is a cruel, extremely cruel mechanism that can take your body to depression, to, in a lot of countries that we've been able to see on the east side, when we're talking about Japan, Korea, Korea is number one in the number one in suicide number.
Mhm.
Number two is Japan, and people don't understand that stress is a huge indicator that can lead to those horrible situations. In Bina, we wanted to make it as simple as possible. We decided to implement the official Bayevsky stress index in order to make it available as simple as possible. The Bayevsky stress index was actually discovered by the Russian space program in the late 50s and early 60s, and it's an extremely simple stress indicator that is derived from heart rate variability. And heart rate variability by itself, we can talk 2 hours about HRV. Yeah, no doubt about that. So we won't do it right now, but we move forward. So everything is about accuracy. Let's be honest. If we're unable to get the vital signs correctly, then nothing is worth it because the decisions will be wrong, the observations will be wrong. So we've been working very hard in order to make those kind of vital signs as accurate as possible. We've been conducting trials all around the world now. And as we speak, we're actually conducting another trial in the US in order to make sure that the accuracy of everything is maintained at the highest level of standard. We're in the process for FDA, for CE in Europe, for Health Canada, for PMDA in Japan, also SHARPA in South Africa. So we're working very hard to make sure that by middle of next year, we expect at least 2 approvals from a medical point of view. So everything will be a medical device when it comes to accuracy. Two things about the go-to-market from Bina's point of view. We are delivering a software development kit, which means application owner, major organization can integrate our capabilities into their solution. As a B2B company, we're an enabler because once you have those different types of vital signs and stress level, then you can create your own mechanisms. And that's what we're really happy to do also with Dr. Morris in order to provide those kind of capabilities. I guess we can call it in a very high level, the health score and the different types of health predictions are based on the ability to have an ongoing, accurate level of different reads. And then you can actually profilize correctly. You can start using predictions capabilities and other types of capabilities. Undoubtedly, wearable are an extremely important part when we're talking about chronic conditions. But the reachability, most people cannot afford 200, 300, 700 type of wearable devices, or the newest, most advanced Apple Watch is almost $1,000 now. And in order to make this available to the most common people, a software-based solution is the only way. Let's be honest. And now the amazing work, Dr. Morris, that you have been doing with Fulcrum. So please share with us.
Yes, so I'll share what we've done and how we've taken this great tool and implemented into our system. And I know there's a lot of people on and there's a lot of questions. One of the things I want to answer really quickly is the fundamental question of why am I doing this? Why am I getting on this webinar? For me, it's because I want to help get this information out. I want to open up this technology. And as a business owner, as an industry leader, I feel a responsibility to help as many people get this information as possible. And last week, someone asked me, well, why would you do that and give information about what your company is doing? You can be the only one doing it. Okay, so if I had a water company, do I want to be the only water company on the planet while people are dying? That just doesn't make sense. So that's why we're here and this we want to do. So here at My Health Lab, what we created, because we've been focusing on technology and taking extremely high level resources and attempting to make them available for common people. That's been part of our mission. And while doing that, leveraging technology for advancements to make that more efficient in people's lives. That's part of our mission. And we've taken this phenomenal tool and we've put it into what we're calling My Health Lab. The concept of My Health Lab is to be a full ecosystem of wellness for our clients. So you see the first picture there is that's just a little handsome devil there. I know him. He's a good guy.
Who is this beautiful?
He's an amazing
guy?
Man. I like him.
Yeah, I don't know why, but something about him.
Yeah, I'm partial to this guy. So what you're seeing is our dashboard. And for Fulcrum, what we're saying is this is the preliminary dashboard that covers all the aspects of our health and our wellness for our clients. Obviously, the first thing we want to do is be to take an assessment, but we've connected metabolic information. We've connected respiratory and stress information, which are video vital signs. We have the charting of that information. We have the My Health Coach, which is going to be all of your nutrition. And then it goes into the grouping. And I'm talking fast, but don't focus on that part. More importantly, we want to slide over so you can see this is what a report looks like in our platform. So we're getting heart rate, we're getting respiration, heart rate variability, which is the time in between the beats, oxygen saturation, mental stress. And because it's not a wearable, we can do this live real time 100 times a day. And all our clients have to do is pull out their phone. They just download this and it's on their phone. So the vital signs, we need that. That's great information. The second thing that we do is we conduct through another technology that we've designed. We get the body composition information. Now, really quickly, this is really important. It's not going to just give you a numerical value of your health, but it gives you the metabolic analysis. So how much fat do I burn? How healthy am I? What are my risk of cancer, heart disease, and stroke? All of that is inside of this one tool that's on your phone. David, if you could switch to that second one for me.
Sure, of course. There we go.
And from that other screen, so these are the reportings, which is extremely relevant. Here is how I want to see it as a trend for myself. So I want to track over time what's happening. So you can see that I'm looking at my heart rate, and then I have a continuum. So I can be able to quickly visually identify any major spikes in any of my vitals, which are really important. That's very relevant. And we're doing that forever. So every time you've ever taken a scan, we have the full history of that information. So the first part of our wellness coaching model is, hey, I need to get all the vital signs. I need to get all my body composition information, my metabolic rate, and then I need to be able to identify and track that over time to see what type of changes are being made. Am I doing the right program or am I not doing the right program? Then the thing that nobody likes to talk about, the next slide for me is going to be really exciting, but it's really important, is also your nutrition. So we're getting vital signs, we're getting body composition, and now we're getting nutrition. And instead of just getting your basic nutrition, say calories in, calories out, how many calories you should burn, how many calories you should eat, what we've done is we've taken from that previous screen, we have your metabolic rate. So we know how many calories you burn when you're running around. We know how many calories you burn when you're sitting still. We take that information, we put it inside of here, and then we're going to give you a breakdown based on the macro and micronutrients you need every day.
Oh,
So we give you a report card of put in your favorite foods. You just put your favorite foods in, we grade it, and whatever area like zinc or magnesium, wherever you're failing, you hit the button, gives you a bunch of foods. So we're taking the nutrition with an AI algorithm to identify you personally, your personal nutrition, your personal metabolic rate, your personal weight, your personal fat, and then we put together the things you like to eat the most as your starting point, and then we begin to teach you other things to add beyond that so you can become healthier. So we've taken the framework of what Benai is making available as the key human vital signs, and then we've wrapped around it all of the other components of wellness. And then we're tracking that and coaching it as we go. So wrapping it on that framework allows us to start, because my vitals for our clients, they take that 3 times a day. The body fat, I only do that once a month. My nutrition, I do that probably once a week. And it's harder to identify when things are going wrong in those areas as much as it is for me to take a scan and quickly be able to identify what's going on with me. So that's how, and we're very proud of it. That's how Fulcrum
you
and
should.
my health lab is taking this and creating an ecosystem to make available a regular person to get all of this information would have to make multiple appointments. They would have to be in the human performance lab somewhere. It will run thousands of dollars and hours of time. And because of what we're doing here and being able to leverage your technology, it's in your hand. You literally have a health lab in your hand, which is just amazing.
It is. It definitely is. From the different types of components that you had, from nutrition to body fats to different vital signs to everything. Which kind of vital signs have the highest type of impact of your analysis?
Right. So for me, interesting enough, the respiration rate, the heart rate variability, and the mental stress, those are the 3 pieces I watch most often and my team watch most closely, because those are the numbers that can change. And those are the numbers that have the greatest impact on the most immediate danger of a person, in our opinion.
Very
And the
interesting.
reason why I say that is because the mental stress, again, most people can't feel it. They don't know, they don't understand. So that low stress is a good trend. The heart rate variability, which you can't really get on any other device without a sleeping tool, lets me know how ready my nervous system is to handle pressure and strain. And if that
Very interesting.
respiration, which is an indication of my heart and lung activity, if that goes cattywampus, then again, I know that there's major issues that. So for us, those are the 3 paramount things that we watch. Then we go into more of the metabolic issues where we're talking about body fat percentage and the metabolic rate in terms of the caloric intake. So because those are things that change over time, it takes that 3.5 to 4 weeks to change.
Very interesting. From an HRV point of view, what do you think? For many, many years, a lot of people have been monitoring their heart rate. How does heart rate variability is different than heart rate? A lot of people just don't get it.
Right. Oh my gosh. And I'm going to make it really, really short, but it's really
Yes, please.
important. So heart rate is beat 1, 2, 2, 2. So heart rate variability is the time in between that. Your heart rate is your heart's rhythm, okay? But the time in between that is a specific indication on your nervous system and a function of how efficiently your nervous system is functioning, which is direct line to your brain and then dictates out to your body all of the stress components. So that heart rate variability is a critical thing to know and to be able to identify. And we can start really big with chronic stress, or I can actually use my heart rate variability to help inform me about foods I don't like. So if I take my
Interesting.
heart rate variability before I eat, maybe 20 minutes, and eat something and then take it again, it'll help. If that number cranks up or goes crazy, something I ate, my nervous system, my body doesn't like. And I would never be able to tell that from just eating it.
And feelings. Yeah. Very interesting. Well, that's amazing. That this kind of whole package, and this is not just a phony, let's put it that way. It's not a phony messaging. What I'm trying to say that there is nothing like that. It includes all of those summed up together in order to provide a real added value. And this is something that, it's not just for athletes. From what I understand, this is for all of us eventually. Yeah.
Totally. That's the plan. We want to make it available for everybody.
Yeah. And we're really happy to do that together, sir. So just to summarize Bina uniqueness, I think that we are utilizing the cameras only. We work using the back camera, the front-facing camera. We work on any operating system almost. It's completely accessible. And I think something that is very important, the entire processing is done over the solution itself. So whenever you're using a My Health Lab solution, Bina is never exposed to the data itself. So you're able to maintain all the privacy and the security that you need. And we are never able to see anything like that. And it's really important to say that we're agnostic to age, gender, skin tone, and any type of other, I think, variables that includes the majority of us eventually.